G'day YouTube. Well, good afternoon from Machen's Beach on this pretty ordinary afternoon. Seems to be the theme of most videos these days, especially in the last 2 weeks. We're in this, you've been following my channel, we're in sort of held in, we're in a weather pattern that is, obviously providing plenty of cloud cover and rain and wind. Although the wind has just started to, especially on this beach, because if you can see in the background there, it's really close to Cairns, and it's pretty much getting closer to Cairns, which is actually located in an inlet, and they do call that Trinity Inlet, and that's where a lot of the big boats dock, tourist boats. So as you can see behind me, if I do a 360, you got the Coral Sea, and to the north, you're heading back towards my way, which is up towards Clifton Beach. But at the moment, I just thought I'd get down here. I haven't been down here for a long time. There's a bit of wind, so it makes it a little bit easier to make a vlog, because we are near the mangroves down here. There is a lot of croc activity. It wouldn't be today. They wouldn't be moving. Too cold. But they do get a lot of sandflies. We call them midgies here, and they bite like tigers. And we're getting a bit of rain here too. That rain's coming over now, and I might have to head back and just put it on pause and then get back into the video and today's topic. Back from the rain delay. Bit of rain there, about 10 minutes, come through into Machen's Beach. Come over the mountains there behind me, over Yarrabah way, and it's pretty dark, hey? It's a dark old day. But today's topic is a very interesting one, because this topic's been inspired by a fella I actually taught last week in the truck, and his take on life, and we'll call him Jason. Of course, this is not his real name, just in case he watches this, but we'll call him Jason. And he was in his mid-30s, and he was working, or had been, or still is, working in a low-paid job, hospitality, because we live in a tourist area in Cairns. So he'd been working in different types of jobs, but he's in a low-paid job, and he worked out a way how to rort the system as such. And good on him. No problem with me. And a lot of people will disagree with that, but I've come to the conclusion these days, as I've got a bit older, that I don't give a shit. As long as I look after myself, my family, I don't really care. Although, if you dig deep into it, there's lots of pros and lots of cons to that. But regardless, and I want to talk about why he'd worked the system, worked around the system, and the system is set up that way. So technically, nothing he's doing is illegal. It's just one of those systems in Australia, which I don't really want to comment on it. But it is what it is. But I just think it was an interesting story, and I can see the points for his reasoning, especially in today's economic climate and the way that politicians rip us off. So that's why I don't give a toss. But he was more or less getting a free truck lesson. He passed his truck course. He got his license. So obviously he was trying to make strides to get a new job, to get out of a low-paying job. He was trapped in a low-paying job, so I did have sympathy for him. A lot of people in this town of Cairns are trapped in those jobs. A lot of people make a lot of money. They're in the mines, fly in, fly out. But on the other side, there's a lot of people that are not, and that's why we get a lot of visa holders into this town to fill the gaps. And today I'm going to look at, well, if you looked at the thumbnail, it's based on why people have had enough with low-paid jobs, and the reason they prefer to take welfare. Well, that's the thumbnail summarised, and we're going to talk about Jason, and we're going to look at some of the points he talked about. So I'm talking on the behalf of him, because a lot of people would like to say things, but they want to keep silent. But I think this is an interesting one to talk to. talk about him, and we'll call him Jason. Let's get into it. So, trapped by the system, welfare pays more. Well, does it? I'm not sure about that. That could be argued by other people that actually watch this vlog that I make, because, you know, I work full time, so I wouldn't know. But I know there are a lot of low paying jobs out there, and I know a lot of people will work the minimum hours in order to keep on welfare as a buffer. So that is the first point. Why do people do this? Because welfare in this country, I'm in Australia, acts as a buffer. So there is sometimes on low paying job, there is no incentive to take on a full-time job, especially if it's a low paying one, if you're only going to lose that job and then got to reapply for welfare. So why would you? Why would you take the risk, especially maybe you have a family? Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a number of kids. And this opens up a lot of can of worms, but at the end of the day, you got to think about how what the politicians are earning from the taxpayer. People jump hard on a lot of people that are on welfare. A lot of people should not be on welfare. I get that. But there are a lot of people there that are in a situation where it's very low paying and there is no incentive to get off welfare. And that's the issue. So they end up stuck on welfare, entrenched on welfare, and find a way to live on welfare, working minimal hours. And this is what this fella did. He was working these minimal hours where for every $150, every $150 and every dollar over $150, you lose 50 cents. So he'd worked out the basics of being able to survive, he was single, and live on welfare doing a 15-hour a week work week, that is. So it's not a lot, but yeah, it suited him. I guess it suited him down to the ground. So he worked out a system based on that first point, why he thought, being on welfare was fantastic. So that's the first point. Let's look at the second point he was talking to me about. And again, he had a big discussion, pretty in depth. He told me a lot, actually. Probably told me more than he damn should have. But the other thing he found, that in the hospitality industry, especially in Cairns, that you're sort of on call and the hours are all over the shop. So you work my days, arvos and nights. And he found that when he did work full time, it was just, after a few years, it's just a total burnout. And you're frying your brain, you're burning out, you don't have much time to yourself, and you don't get much time to see other people. And as a result, you become very isolated. And then, of course, you lose that social connection. And in his words, I should say, the amount of money you got for that was nowhere near worth it. Especially when you can work out ways to live a lot cheaper, which he had done, according to him. I guess because he'd also was doing a bit of van life, so obviously that would cut the costs, and that's what a lot of people are doing these days. It's a big trend, it's all over YouTube. Do van life, you can save a fortune, and which he was, but he'd go in and out of accommodation and van life based on his situation, and that way he'd always have money. He never had the issues with that. And again, it was based how the system was set up. So remember, this conversation or this topic, although it stirs up a lot of people, it's based on how the system's been set up, and especially low wages. And people, especially in this town, especially the locals, they don't want to do these low wage jobs because they lead to nowhere. And that's another point. These low wage jobs do not lead anywhere. And as a result, you end up, if you get caught in these jobs, with very little skill level. And here comes the rain again. So I'm just going to pause that for a second. Yeah, I had to get in the car because of the rain. It's come back again. So I'm just going to finish this off in the car, in the park, looking over the ocean. You can hardly see it because of the rain. But I guess Jason, as I called this fella, one of his biggest gripes was the incentive and motivation, or lack of, or the encouragement of lack of motivation for one of the things he said the biggest problem, and I've heard this before, especially in hospitality in this town, is lack of progression up the career ladder. Now, of course, that doesn't affect everyone. I get that, because a lot of people do well at it, and they do go up the corporate ladder and end up in management positions that they love. But in general, this is the feedback from this particular fella and other people I've met, because I'm not in that industry. I have when I went to university, but I'm not in that industry. And I'm just talking on behalf of these people. But it's a known fact in this town how it mostly works. And that is, it's a burnout industry. There's a lack of career progression up the ladder. Only the fortunate, or maybe the hardworking, or both, get to climb that ladder, or those who are motivated as well, who really love that industry, because I've met people who really love it. But in general, they end up in my classes, in my trucks, in order to get into the mining industry. And you'll ask them, what do they do? If it ain't retail, it's hospitality. So that's why I get these stories and know about these stories, because I get them firsthand. And when you get lots of them, you know people aren't lying. And it's in the media around here, around this town anyway, about, they can't fill positions because they don't pay enough, but they never change it, right? They never change it because they can get, in this country, get a heap of immigrants in, God love them, and put them in the hospitality industry, and they'll accept low wages, especially for our visa holders, because they're only here short term and they're here for, a good time, not a long time. So there's so many reasons, and you could open up a can of worms why the locals prefer to be on welfare in this case, in this sector, the hospitality sector, and how it breeds this type of person and this type of thinking because of the system. So as a result, people work out to rort it, if you could call it a rort. They work out how to do it, and then obviously they run with it. And if they're in a position where it works out, hats off to you. Fair enough, good stuff. I'm in the position that I don't really care, even though I know it affects the taxpayer. But I keep going back to the politician wages. That's why I keep going back. I know a lot of people complain about it and they go, but I say, well, look at the politicians. They're absolutely rorting. The highest paid politician in the world come from this country, Australia. And when someone rorts the system, which they're not really, people get hard on them, and the media will go out on a witch hunt just to make themselves, get a good story, get a story that's going to, get views and eyes on it. So, that's another reason why that happens. But the last thing what he said to me, and it resonated with me, the bottom line is, with this industry, the hospitality industry, and why people rort it, i.e. the welfare system in a sense, is because of the burnout. Now, a few minutes ago I was talking about, the hours, they're not solid hours, they're all over the shop. And what does that lead to? Mental fatigue, physical burnout, because not only are you using your mind, but using your body. If you're in the bar, in a restaurant, or, house cleaning, for example, jobs like that, eventually, when you have no real stability, you're going to look for avenues out of that. You're going to look for a way that's going to make life easier. And that's human nature, and that's what people don't realise. Until you're in that position, they don't realize. When I went to university, I worked in a casino. I mean, I was on good money at the time, luckily. I was on, we're talking 25 years, 30 years ago, whatever it was. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it was a long time. I was earning $20 an hour. I think it was $21 an hour. That was good money, like back in the day. But the hours were all over the shop. I was working at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock some mornings to get through university, but that was my choice, so no problem. You got to tough it out. Shit happens. But a lot of people don't have that mindset. So they look for other avenues because of the way the system's set up. And that's why they end up taking welfare instead of a low-paying job. Anyway, this is Jason's story and the things that he talked to me about, and a lot of the points, I should say, I agree with. Some of them I don't, but I'm not going to get real political. I'm just throwing this out there for people to chew on, to think about. Comment below. What's your 2 bobs worth? I hope people have got something to say about it. Don't shoot the messenger, because I work full time. Doesn't make me any better than anyone else though, because people reach their breaking point and they've got to do what they've got to do, and I get that, but I just think it's an interesting point, and I hear these stories all the time, and I haven't made a vlog about it, but this one, because that fella was actually quite a funny fella, and he's actually quite a smart fella too. Call him what you want, but I'm just being, I'm sitting on the fence, I guess, with this one, because I don't, like I stated at the beginning of the video, I don't really care. I've got to that age now where I don't really give a shit, and I just want to live my own life and help anyone else on the way who wants a bit of advice, or if they listen. Most people don't even listen these days. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that one out, maybe a cat amongst the pigeons, if anyone watches this. And yeah, what's your point of view? Have you been in the same position? Have you thought about it? Or you're totally against that way of thinking? You may be either way, or you may be sitting on the fence like I am, because I can't be bothered no more about it, getting on my high horse. It's no good for your stress and anxiety. Maybe if I was a bit younger, I might be a bit more vocal, but yeah, these days. Bit of a rant, this one, isn't it? It's a bit of a longer one, but I should stop it there, because most people won't watch it to the end anyway. Anyway, so put a comment below. What's your thoughts? And until the next video, I'll catch you on the next video. Rainy day in Machen's Beach. What a bugger. Can't get the views. Anyway, until next one, peace out.